Good morning. I want to share with you. Yes, I know my lighting is off today, and I'm in a friend's office, and this is what we have. But anyway, I wanted to share with you what's been coming to me very strongly because people are really trying to get a grasp on what is awakening, what are the stages of ascension. And therefore, I wanted to share some simple steps that you can really see where you're at. I know this for a fact. There's times where you're going to feel really in line and you're really powerful and you're thinking, wow, I'm in this state. Usually that's the mind or the egoic mind. So you will regress in a sense of backing up, not in a negative way, but okay, let's back up because what we want to do is get to a place of just awareness, not judging it, not thinking that you've gotten somewhere. And it's not somewhere you're going because it's a remembrance of who you are. To remember that this life was really your movie and your production. And we've all heard that before, but I don't think people understand to the degree of which that is true. So if we do believe in oneness and we use those terms, woke or awakening, the deeper meaning is, let me give you these 3 steps. So let's just go right into this. So originally you kind of start out in life as starting to believe you're a victim to life, and that things are happening outside of yourself beyond your control. You blame, you point your fingers, and that's just the basic human consciousness. That's our 3D world, really ruled by the mind instead of the divine heart. So the next stage that we come to is awareness of the energy on the planet and how we are not only affected by it, but affecting it, how we are either tapping into something or we are just allowing it to pass like a cloud in the sky. So when we tap into it and hold on to it through judgment, then it becomes part of our world, part of our production, our movie, our play. And we can be the observer, and we don't have to get attached to the results or believe somebody else is bad or they're wrong, because it's all aspects of the self. So you get to a stage where you really start feeling into energy, not only others, but recognizing it within yourself. Where is that within your own being? Where do you find those unhealed places? And we start picking up, and this is what I did 20 years ago or so. I picked up a chicken in the store and I put it back in my cart because vibrationally something said, no, you don't want the energy of something that was caged, or even if it's free range, that really knows on a level of its consciousness that it is only going to be slaughtered and eaten. So therefore you are taking that vibration into your own self, and it becomes part of your DNA and your consciousness. So that happens with meat. I gave that up about 30 years ago when I realized it really didn't support me. And I'm nasal right now because I started eating wheat again. I know wheat's not good anymore. It's not sprouted properly. It's GMO. There's so many chemicals in the air. The chemtrails have really destroyed our soils and our water. So what's in them, and all the pesticides people use. So we try to eat as clean as we can. And it's not going to be perfect, but we definitely can make a difference. When I stopped eating wheat, totally clear, and I didn't have a nasal sound to myself. And that's all inflammation. And inflammation is actually what creates disease. All disease starts with inflammation. So I'm letting that go again. And I just happen to be around people that do a lot of wheat and, pasta and things that just don't support the body and turn to sugar, actually, which is very acidic. So it's just you know, we kind of go back and forth. We know when we get into something and we're doing it right because we feel terrific. We don't have this congestion, and our body can actually start creating a new, we're damaged, like our DNA is damaged, and it starts healing that. So we're not repeating the same wounds and patterns within us that brought on disease or aging or any of these things. The other thing is the consciousness with animals. These beings, we are taking their consciousness in, as I mentioned. So again, being careful and don't eat GMOs. Eat organic. People say it's too expensive. Well, really, when you're eating garbage, actually, Kate Awakening put a link on, I think, a site, one of her videos just recently, and it's on what's really in our food, the plastics, the contaminants. And so what's happening to our bodies, I mean, it's really shocking that there isn't more disease and cancer and deformity because of what we're actually eating. We're not fueling this divine vehicle. We're not treating it as the temple that it is for our divine being. So we have this beautiful, really, you know, divine heart, divine source, it's consciousness that has embedded itself or chosen this body, this vehicle, to learn whatever lessons it needs to, including family, so, and friends and everyone it attracts, and then either tests and walks away from after it heals, because we can't just walk away from wounds, because when we do that, they just manifest in someone else and other situations. So we don't really want to do that. We want to heal it, see what it is, and let it go. And watching for those people that are just totally sucking our energy, and seeing where we are doing that in the world too. And then really healing that within ourselves, and therefore we're not attracting those people, or if we do, we're not affected by them, and we can just be our loving self and help them. So it's really our food, and it's making sure our water, we have a good filtration system, eating alkaline food, which rejuvenates the body. Cancer multiplies with sugar. You can use scientifically, you can prove this. It's very simple. With a petri dish, and you put sugar in with cancer cells, and it grows. Remember, pasta, most of the products, the junk food in the store that they're selling as food, turns to sugar, and therefore it actually feeds disease. When we have an alkaline diet, and on a petri dish with alkaline foods, cancer doesn't grow. All right, so there's that perfect balance as it was meant to be within our body. So all of these things are so important. And then, of course, our thoughts. We begin thinking differently. We stop blaming. We stop being the victim. We go through stages of manifesting whatever we want in our lives, the homes, the cars, the country clubs, the clothes, the whatever it is. And then we get to a point going, okay, so that was fun, but it's not really on a soul level what I truly want. So then becomes a detachment. We step back, and it can almost seem like our world is falling apart, but really the pieces are coming together. We just don't see it yet. But we're able to step back, where we find ourselves more alone, and not even desiring to be with people we used to be, or going to parties we used to go to, or whatever, it is that takes us off the path of what our soul is trying to come to a realization of. And then we get to a third stage. And these are back and forth. We kind of go back and forth until we really come into alignment. And that third stage is what you see a lot is people that are vegetarians or vegans, or, don't kill animals, or activists for forests, and activists for, human rights and all these things. We look at them then as going, oh, wow, they're not getting how they're creating their own movie. They're not getting this as their script for, and their anger and their upset with others is really about not doing their own inner work. And that's not saying stand up, not standing up for something. I'm talking about judgment. The last stage is really truly where we no longer judge another. So they may eat and kill animals. They may use GMOs. They may, and you can think, God, if more people ate organic, then the prices would go down. So people complain about the prices, but all the garbage is subsidized by our government and the fact that people keep buying it. So therefore, it's more expensive to have organic. And even when we do, we've polluted the water so badly that a lot of that water is going into organic food. But again, this being is incredible, this body that we have to keep trying to rejuvenate and renew itself. And so therefore, whatever we can do, the vaccination thing is horrendous what they're doing. There are a few, especially the early ones without the preservatives and the chemicals and the fetus that they're putting in there from aborted baby. I mean, it's just, you do your own research on this stuff. It's really important. And people don't believe it anyway, if I was to tell them really what's in these. So you have to do your own research, and don't just use Google, because Google is very slanted and they're very invested in all of these destructive companies. So they don't want you to awaken. They want to eliminate a lot of humanity because they have this scarcity consciousness. And so don't go there. And we're not going to judge them. We're just saying, okay, this is where they're at. And if you really want to do research, use multiple sources and try to grab the YouTube stations that aren't demonetized, because the only reason most of them are is because what they're speaking about is truth and they don't want the public to know that. Anyway, so we do get to a place of complete non-judgment. We're just the observer. We're the sky that is watching the rain cloud go by. It's observing the rainbow or the white fluffy cloud or the lightning, and it's all perfect. It's all divinely perfect. And when we can come to that place of non-judgment, knowing it is our own production, that we've only attracted what we needed to learn and experience and understand, to what? For what purpose? To come back to consciousness, to remember who we truly are. The divine beings we truly, truly are. And so it's that process of elimination. I'm not this, so maybe I'm that. I'm not that. And we come to a place of oneness. And that's all I wanted to share. When you really know you're on the ascension path, when you really know you're awakening, all that blame, all that anger falls away. And you keep observing more and more. And you catch yourself much more frequently when you try to blame another, or when you try to, even from your egoic mind, bring in the victim consciousness again, because the ego does not want you to not need it. It's the ruler. It's the king right now. It rules your being, this body vehicle, and it doesn't want to lose power to the divine heart. Okay, that's enough for today. I wondered if I had anything, and this is a journal I got, and it's really the prophet, which many of you know from long ago. He was a wonderful artist also. And so I use that as my journal. And let's see, I don't know if there's, let's see, the trappings of the old life become unbearable. And this is true. What happens when we acquire, we think we want all these things, the trappings of the old life become unbearable. We realize we shackled ourselves. Let's see, when images come up into our life, we no longer react. So images of blame or victimhood or something bad happening. So you are the artist of your life. These are just, your life is a loving reflection of your own vibration. So, and we came to know this truth. And so we're eliminating really wasn't truly our vibration. So be present in your movie without being reactive, a level of non-judgment. One stands in divine love for all. And that is what happens. So we are the light of our life. And just remember that. Everything you're attracting is trying to guide you back to the light of who you are. And I also hope you'll read my book, The Awakening Ones. It's on Amazon, but you can go to my website, angelicachristi.com, and it's under book. Please, that will help me support the work I've done in the years I put into that, and also your own awakening process to grab onto things that maybe you wouldn't even have thought of before. And it's a wonderful journey, and I think you'll really enjoy it. So, The Awakening Ones by Angelica Christie. And I'm sending you love, and have a beautiful, beautiful, non-judgmental day, okay? And out.